This is Si-Sun Lee,
the creator of Morning Recovery.
He created this popular product. It's one that helps people stay productive after a long night of drinking alcohol. Under the age of 30 and the CEO of $1 million company, he is making major moves.
Major move. Ooh.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Major Moves with Tyrah Majors. This is the show where people are highlighted for doing major things. Today's guest is Si-Sun Lee. He is the CEO of More Labs, a supplement product company. Is that what you'd call it?
Yeah.
Supplement product?
Yeah, we call ourselves a biohacking supplement company.
Biohacking. Yeah. Okay, this is all super scientific for me. Why this business? What made you start it?
My background is in Korean Canadian.
Of course.
And in Korea, there's already a massive market for these type of drinks. And so it was one of those natural curiosity where I went over, I tried it. I liked it, but was frustrated that stuff like this didn't exist here. We found a doctor actually at USC, Dr. Liang, who did a lot of studies around herbal medications that can help you sort of reduce the symptoms of alcohol. When we got in touch, this kind of became a project, and next thing you know, it became a company. Before we get there, what were you doing at Tesla and Facebook? Sure. So at Facebook, I joined as a rotational product manager.
Okay.
And so I did 3 different projects there. One of my projects was called internet.org, which was bringing free basic internet access to parts of the world that weren't connected to internet. So I spent a lot of time in Kenya, India, Southeast Asia. And so that was really cool. And then at Tesla was about building an e-commerce tool so that we can have people easily purchase Tesla online as much as they buy it offline.
So you've been like all over the world.
Yeah,
basically.
I've
He's
been
like,
to
yeah.
about 30 countries, yeah.
30 countries, and you end up here in Los Angeles with this company. For those who have no idea what Morning Recovery is, what is it in the most simplest terms?
Yeah, it prevents and reduces the negative effects of alcohol. So then essentially next day you can, instead of
being hungover.
Exactly. You can wake up and be productive. And that's the entire idea of it.
And it definitely works. I am a testament to that. Morning Recovery does work. By the way, this guy was featured in Forbes. I mean, how often do you meet someone who's featured in Forbes? In the first 3 months of launching, you made $1 million?
Yeah, that was our...
That's a thing?
3 months, yeah.
How? What was your marketing tactic?
I think we have to go back to sort of how we started, which was, it was super organic in a sense that it was very hard to distinguish whether this was a fun project or a company.
Right.
Because we didn't set out with this global mission of let's build this company. It was sort of, hey, this is really exciting. Next thing you know, it's becoming so big that I have to decide between doing this or staying at Tesla. By the time I decided to do it full time, which was about a month into this, we were pacing closer to 300, 400,000 a month.
Oh my God.
So I don't know how. I wish I had a formula, but I think a lot of it is because there was a clear need in the market. People resonated with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's also one of those kind of very funny, quirky word of mouth product. You can talk about it, you can share it with your friends and family. You bring it to a party and it becomes a conversation starter. So it kind of had a lot of this momentum.
So as far as other research and finding the ingredients and all of that stuff, are you involved in that process too? Or is it the doctors here at USC who are firsthand on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's progressed quite a bit. Like version 1 or version 0.1 was, I'm not a scientist nor a chemist, but a lot of just like reading white papers, and leaning on to Dr. Liang, who was here. She's a leading researcher in a component called DHM.
Okay.
And that is found in an herb that a lot of these similar drinks in Asia uses, which is how we came across her paper. And so a lot of it was leaning on her, but now, we have a team of 25.
Okay.
And now we're on version 3.2 of the product. And so along the way, we've also made a lot of different incremental changes and additions, and we have an internal team of scientists. So it's more so that the latest versions are, they kind of figure it out.
Yes.
Versus version 1 was, I try to figure it out with Dr. Liang. So
with each different version, the product develops. So you have a new product as well. Talk about that one. Well, it's newer.
The idea was very simple, which is we essentially asked our customers, what do you want us to build? And it turned out that most of our customers are just highly productive, adults in their 20s
Yeah.
to 50s, so very broad. And for them, like the reason why they like morning recovery isn't so that they can go out and drink, you know, sort of more to the point where they
Exactly.
don't without consequences. It's more about I want to enjoy my night out, but then I have so many things to do tomorrow. And so what they told us was that, you know, with more labs, I wish you guys could solve fatigue, dehydration, stress, poor sleep quality. We like to say remove all the modern day stressors
All
that
the
slow you
modern
down.
day stressors.
And so the second product we launched is called Liquid Focus,
Okay.
and that's sort of for your afternoon slump. You know,
So creative. Who comes up with the names? Liquid Focus, Morning Recovery. It's so
Oh.
like punchy.
yeah, I mean that's the big credit to our marketing team.
Okay, marketing team.
But there's
And talk about having a team. I mean, obviously, this is your company. You're the CEO. But what is it like having a team? How has that helped you develop?
I think philosophically, you know, if you're at an early stage where you're just one or maybe two people, being an entrepreneur, you have to bash your head against the wall and do everything yourself. And I think that's like a required step, right? Like you have to have an incredible throughput, but at a certain point you realize like that's not scalable, right? There's only so much I can learn about white papers to do science.
Right.
At a certain point you have to bring experts. And so I think this is like a necessary sort of transition where you kind of rely on people that are smarter than you at what they do.
You're so young, under 30 years old, and you started a company and you're thriving. What advice would you have to other millennial entrepreneurs or any entrepreneur that may be wanting to start a business, but they're
Sure.
kind of afraid to take that step?
I mean, this is always a hard one because, so from the outside, you know, things look like everything's going really well,
Yeah.
but you know, internally everything's falling
It's like,
apart. So it's hard for me to give advice because I'm always looking for advice. The most fundamental thing is you should focus on building products or services that people love.
right.
And I mean, ultimately, you know, you remove all the tactics like marketing, growth, branding. You just really say, hey, like if I build something that people really love, then, you know, sort of things will take care of itself.
There's another thing I forgot to ask you because I just noticed on the More Lab site. This product is sold in so many different stores. Like I put my zip code in and there was like Urban Outfitters and all these other places. How do you get your product into a store? Is that process hard?
I think fundamentally it comes down to how much leverage you have. You know, if you're a new brand that no one knows about and you knock on a door with guys like Urban Outfitter, it's a very difficult conversation. And it's doable, right? Maybe you have a great story, a great margin, you know somebody, but I think ultimately the better way to have a leverage is to you know, show them the incentives that they care about. And in this case, it's the fact that people want it. You know, we usually don't go after retail partners right away.
Okay.
We sort of focus on building a direct-to-consumer business and sort of building that, you know, I don't know if this is the right word, but actual hype. Because if there's a product
gotta
out
have
there that people like, people talk about, then retailers will come at you.
So basically, if you want to be CSUN, you gotta have hype. You gotta have hype. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super important. Yeah.
So as you all know, at the end of every Major Move show, I do a fun segment, and CSUN told me he's a basketball fan. So we're gonna do some basketball trivia. Hopefully these questions aren't too difficult. Are you ready for this?
Let's try.
What team won the very first NBA game ever? This was in 1946.
I have to say it's either Lakers or Celtics or Philly.
No, it was the New York Knicks.
Oh, man, that
They
makes
beat the
sense.
then Toronto Huskies, and that was in 1946.
Oh, man, you're
Long
right.
time ago. All right, who was the youngest player to score 10,000 points in the NBA?
Youngest? Oh, it's gotta be LeBron.
LeBron James. All right. What team owns the longest winning streak in NBA history?
Winning streak as in number of games? Or
Yes. Maybe.
Lakers?
Yeah, the Lakers. All right, I've got some more. You're doing pretty good so far.
Not
All
bad.
right, who was selected by the Pelicans first overall in the 2019 NBA draft?
Oh, it's Zion Williamson.
Zion Williamson. That was an easy one. That just happened. Who won the 2019 NBA Finals?
Oh, it's Toronto Raptors.
It's the Raptors. It's your hometown.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, what team is Kawhi Leonard being transferred to?
Oh, Clippers.
The Clippers. All right. I just made that way too easy. Well, thank you so much, CSUN. Tell us where we can find you. Where can we find out about Morning Recovery? Tell my viewers where you can find them.
Morelabs.com or Amazon is the surest way anywhere across US. If you're in California or Chicago, then we have tons of stores that you can find on our website. There's a store locator. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that wraps up Major Moves. If you are making major moves or you know someone who is and you want to share your story, please go to my website and send me an email. That's www.tyrahmajors.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you get some morning recovery next time you go out.